Hello and welcome to IGN Anime Club, episode 52. Yay, anime!
Yay, anime!
I'm Callie Plaguey filling in for Miranda Sanchez, who's very busy with Uncharted. Check out her wiki on IGN.com. But joining me, as always, is Megan Sullivan.
Hello.
And Mike Mamone.
Hey.
So really quickly, before we jump into what we're watching, we just got some Pokemon news, big Pokemon news. Pokemon Sun and Moon trailer, which we'd seen a little teaser, but that's just really cool. We get the starters. Usually that's a Koro leak. So
also, what do you think
cool.
about the starters?
My favorite's Rowlet. He's this little owl, and he has a little bow tie, and it's so cute.
It's a little leafy bow tie.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that. I'm like, oh, it's a bow tie.
Yeah.
But Litten, though.
Litten looks like a Kizna. He has the little Kizna for key on his forehead. I stole that from our friend Nick. Hey Nick. But I laughed really hard when he said that joke. He was like, "Is Litten a Kizna?" But yeah, Megan, you saw a little bit about it. What did you think, as someone who's not super up on Pokemon?
I thought the new starters were super, super cute. There's the little baby seal and his water gun, and I was like, oh my god, it's adorable.
Okay, so Poplio. We have a lot of water seals now.
I was gonna call him Water Dog, but Sam, our managing editor, called him Clown Dog because of the nose. He's actually a sea lion, and the description of him is that his nose is a water balloon. So I hope that he becomes like a grenade sort of thing. Like he turns the water balloons into grenades. That'd be hardcore.
That'd be super hardcore.
That'd be so hardcore.
We were joking that he was going to turn into a dark clown seal.
Yeah, like a sad clown.
Or something
man.
like It.
Yeah.
Ever seen It?
Oh my goodness.
Surprise. You thought it was cute and cuddly, but it lives in a sewer and it will eat you.
But yeah, I'm excited. But yeah, anything else about Pokemon? Like the reveal of the region and
the region is super tropical. It's called Alola. You see that really briefly in the trailer. I did a trailer analysis that you can see on IGN.com.
Yes.
So if you want my full breakdown, my official breakdown, this is more of my excitement breakdown. We knew it was going to be tropical, but I think it's supposed to be Hawaii. In the Japanese commercial, you saw there's this Japanese kid. I cried. It's this Japanese kid moving to a new place, and he's learning English to introduce himself. So I'm assuming it's supposed to be somewhere in the U.S. Because it's tropical, I was like, oh, maybe he's moving to Hawaii. It looks like Hawaii to me.
Japanese love to go to Hawaii.
Yes, also
it's a much closer destination, and you get the best mochi in Hawaii.
Yep.
So good.
It's so super good.
Watch you can also catch the Japanese trailer or commercial on IGN, and it'll make you cry. It's so sad.
It's very special.
The last thing I want to mention about Pokemon, not related to Sun and Moon, is there's 2 giveaway Pokemon coming up for the Pokemon anime. So the XYZ series, the Pokemon anime is entering its 19th season.
Jeez.
So last week was Zygarde, so I'm sorry I didn't remind anybody to get Zygarde, but there's Shiny Xerneas this coming week, so starting May 11th, and then starting May 20th, you can do a mystery gift download to get Shiny Yveltal. So we'll be promoting that on IGN.com, how to get that. But basically, you just go to mystery gift and select download from internet, and you get a Shiny Xerneas, the starter from, or not starter, the legendary from X. So. Yeah. And then Yveltal the week after, which is so cool. So don't miss out on that.
What's the total of Pokemon that exists now?
721 or 722. I forget. I forget what Volcanion makes it.
And yet there's still not as many Pokemon as there are episodes of One Piece. Think about that.
Bringing it back. Megan's always bringing it back.
But anyway.
Pokemon's awesome.
Yes.
Moving on to what we're watching, I'm going to pick on Megan this week because Megan binged a show that I started and I know is super great, and a lot of people were recommending it.
Yes. So one of our listeners/viewers recommended Durarara, and first of all, I love saying that name, Durarara. And it's a really hard show to explain because it's almost like Pulp Fiction, where everyone's lives tied together, but in these very tangential ways. Mm-hmm. So the through line is that there's a headless horseman, a Dullahan, who's lost her head. She was in Ireland or somewhere, and someone stole her head, and so she traced it to Japan, and it's about her running around the Ikebukuro district of Tokyo looking for it. Mm-hmm. And her through line, her story sort of affects the people around her. So these high school students, these shady scientists, these kidnappers, all these different like quirky characters that come together because of this Dullahan. And the way it all interconnects is really not clear until like the 9th episode, because each episode is sort of its own self-contained story that ties into a larger narrative arc.
Cool.
But it's super cool because this Dullahan decides to take a more modern form when she gets to Tokyo, and so her horse, her headless horse, her familiar, turns into a motorcycle, and then she's got this helmet that has like cat ears or wolf ears on it. Yeah, her name is Celti, and she's awesome.
Her Nendoroid's really cool.
Her Nendoroid is super cool.
awesome.
Fanime's coming up. I don't know if I could pull off a Celti outfit though, especially because I don't know how to make the scythe that she sometimes carries.
Yeah.
But I
you
could get
don't
the
need
black
that, it's
outfit, and I could get the helmet with the ears on it. But
I'm sure you can.
She makes me want to buy a motorcycle so I can get the helmet.
Yeah.
For my motorcycle.
basically, I'm just going to have like a 10 speed and then just have like this really kick-ass helmet.
Yeah, just ride your bike around with that.
Yeah, but I'm really glad. I forget which one of our listener viewers recommended it, and I really want to thank them because that was a great recommendation. I watched all 12 episodes of the first Cur in a day. That's how much I liked
very
it.
cool.
So
She hardcore.
and I watched it. Everyone always asks me, "Do you watch it subbed or dubbed?" And I watched it dubbed, which at first was weird. It's a very specifically Japanese show. It has a lot of specifically Japanese cultural references, but because the dub quality was really good, I got used to it, and I managed. Although you could tell some of those Japanese words were tripping some of the actors up. They were like, So, but I recommend. Very good.
Yeah, Megan is always your go-to for a dub recommendation. If subtitles are hard for you, if you don't like subtitles, so make sure you holla at her. Mike,
Hey.
what have you been up to?
Yeah, the usual.
Oh.
So I'm just gonna keep bringing this up until you guys watch episode 2. But it's Tanaka-kun. Yes? No?
I still haven't watched it. I'm sorry. I was watching
Anyway, but I just want to update everyone. I watched episode 2 again, and I'm happy that I did.
Oh, because of your waifu?
Yes.
If you didn't watch last week's episode, Mike has a new waifu.
He does.
I do. And she's the best. And you should watch it. Anyway, moving on. I finally finished Fate's Stay Unlimited Blade Works.
Nice. Congrats.
So yeah, finally. God. Since we did the spring anime feature, like I held off like everything.
Yeah.
Except for One Piece, of course. But yeah, I loved it. I think I kind of liked Zero better, to be honest. Only because like you meet all the masters and the servants and kind of like get their story. In Unlimited Blade Works, sometimes you don't even see the masters or don't find out till later in the. And then there's a lot of like weird like there's rules set in the Holy Grail War, but then in Unlimited Blade Works, like whatever, we can do whatever you want. So, but then the action's great. I love the fighting. There's like this love arc thing that kind of just seems out of place, but aside from that, I liked it. So yeah. So now that I'm done with that, I am going to start Eureka 7 and binge that.
How many episodes is that?
Dang.
I don't know. I just
You're
know
gonna find out.
I'm gonna find out, but the first couple are on Hulu, so I'm gonna watch that and then I'm gonna find out the rest. Probably in Funimation. But anyway, so yeah, how about you, Kelly? What did you watch this weekend?
I caught up on Space Patrol Luluco, which is my favorite show of the season. It's so trigger. It's like so magnificently trigger. And there's little, not crossover things, but little Easter eggs you see, like Inferno Cop kind of references and stuff like that. There's also these Kill la Kill references, and I'm really excited. First of all, no spoilers. We're introduced to a character who reminds me a lot of a Kill la Kill character who I won't say who it is, but if you watch it, you will know. You will know exactly what I am talking about, and you can tweet at me and be like, yeah, she's the best. I fell in love. She's so cool. And you get that feel to it. And then at the end of, again, no spoilers, at the end of the most recent episode, there is a hint that I feel like something very interesting is to come, something very trigger. So... it's definitely a wacky show. I can understand why it wouldn't be everybody's cup of tea, but I love it so much.
And it's short,
so
too.
goofy.
Yeah,
I rewatched an episode and then I caught up on an episode, or caught up on some episodes, and it felt like no time at all. Number one, because I was so entertained. And it's so funny, and like Midori is the sassiest ever, and I love her.
You like a little bit that sass?
Yeah, she's very sassy. I can be very sassy too, so it's okay. But yeah, that's basically what I was up to. I also watched not anime, so I watched that 70s show a lot.
Well, it's anime-esque in its own unique way.
You know,
There you go.
sure.
You can make anything anime.
Yeah, but speaking of weekends, this past weekend
Yes.
was Mother's Day in the
Hey.
U.S., if you're watching internationally. And, you know, we couldn't do anything leading into Mother's Day, but I think, you know, it's time to take a step back and appreciate moms in anime and around the world.
Yes.
So starting off, let's just talk about some of our favorite anime moms.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
We have this list, and I'm so happy at the very top of this list is Sachiko Fujinuma from Erased, because she is the best.
She's
is-
the best mom.
She's like better than best mom. Like if there's best girl and the best mom, she's like queen
of best mom.
Yeah.
She's just so great.
Yes.
She's like, I like her not just because she's good at being a parent, but that she's also very good at like stepping back and looking at Satoru and kind of being like, I know what you're up to, but okay, you go do your thing, and I'll just hang back and wait.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. Like, she's not all up in his stuff.
No, she's not.
yeah.
She's not a helicopter parent per se. She trusts him to make the right choices.
Yeah.
And she's pretty kick butt in her own way. I mean, she was part of I think she was like a news reporter.
Yeah, she works for some sort of
Yeah, she
outlet.
worked for some sort of outlet, but also she was willing to give that up when something happened to her son and she had to take care of him for years.
Yeah.
Which
I know.
was amazing. I mean, that right there, we could just stop everything and be
Yeah.
like, when you literally drop everything as a single parent to take care
Yeah.
of your son for that many years, and you give up a successful career to take a part-time job to take care of him. I mean, oh my gosh, that
That was-
dedication. That's what puts her over the top for me. I already liked her because she's a little bit sassy and independent, and she trusts her kid. She, you know, she's the kind of parent who's like, all right, I'm going to trust you on this, but I'm going to keep an eye on you.
She's totally like a little boy's mom, like a boy's mom.
Yeah.
Like she's very good at being like an elementary school boy's mom.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
I get that.
like you were saying, I mean, she's one of the things I love about moms in general is moms who are so dedicated to their kids that she has her whole life, she has her career, she has her stuff going on, but her kid is also her life.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate that she has her own life. Like I you know, on Facebook when one of your friends has a kid. I don't know if anybody in the audience has gotten there yet. I mean, some obviously
Yeah, I think some have.
some people in the audience have kids. So happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
But if you know, I got into the point where like some of my Facebook friends are having kids. And like that's fine, but then like every Facebook post becomes about your kid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm so glad you love your kid. Like that is so much better than not loving your kid. But also like where are you? Where'd you go?
Yeah.
Which is what I like about Satoru's mom is like even when she gives up a lot of those things about her, she's still her like she has this like spunky edge to her.
Oh,
like
yeah.
She still has no spoilers, she kind of not like she doesn't maneuver anything, but she knows like which friends to invite over, and she's kind of working like on the DL with that stuff. She's a
little bit of his partner in crime. It's
Yeah.
like, I know you're up to something
Thank
for
you.
the good of the world, so I'm going to help you, but without being intrusive about it, because I don't want to be the uncool, interfering mom.
Yeah.
Like, she
That's-
understands that.
Yeah.
That's
Totally.
a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Watch Erased.
Yes.
Yes.
So next up,
Next up, I put
this is you.
Yes, Itsuga is that his name? The main character is a mom, Inko Midoriya. She's so sweet.
She's so sweet. Like she knows that her son loves All Might as a hero, and when her son is not born with a mutation and can't be a hero, she cries so hard. She knows how much it means to him.
I know.
It's so emotional.
That wrecked me because it was very much like this. Finding out he had some sort of not deficiency, but something that would make his life harder, or something that would hurt his chances at happiness, and she mourns for that. And it's I like that scene. That show's not like that show isn't one where I'm watching it and like sobbing all the time. It's not like a super feelsy show to me, but that scene in particular, I was like, Moms.
That broke me. Yeah,
I mean, she knew like he has a little dolly and he loves watching the one thing, and she let him watch the show and everything about All Might, and like it meant so much to him, which is why it wrecked her.
Yeah. No, I think for sure, like, the worst thing for a parent is to feel helpless when trying to make your child happy. So that moment was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
The feels.
And she continues as he goes to, as he goes to his hero school and everything. Like, she's still there to support him, and she's always like cheerful and making him meals and like, oh my gosh, you got this mail, and like she's so happy for him.
So
it's
cute.
just that support that you need from your parents, especially your mom. You're just like, yay.
Yeah, even then, like there was that one scene where he was leaving for school, and then she just says, "You're so cool."
Yeah, I was just like,
like,
that's the best. Like that kind of affirmation from your parents. It's just like sometimes you just need it. You want to make your parents proud. And when they do that, you're like, that's so great.
We're gonna cry in this
Oh,
episode.
I know. Turned into a big tear fest, and yet we don't have Kleenex or tissue.
We really should have thought of that.
We should have thought of that, but that's okay. That's okay. We got this.
Yeah.
Next, this looks like a Mike suggestion as well.
Yes, this is. I chose Hiroko Makunochi from Hajime no Ippo. Yeah, she's kind of like Sachiko. She's a spunky mom. Like
Goals.
Her husband passed away, unfortunately. So she was a single mom with the one child. And she worked her husband's business, which was a fisherman business. And like to see her kid go off, and this is all a lot in sports anime. There's usually the kid's always doing his sports thing. The parents aren't really around, but for her, she's always there. Like part of helping. Well, for Ippo, he helps his mom out at work because it's also help. That's how he gets strong, also. So like having her support him, watching his kid get beat up and whatnot, and like just being like, you do what you want to do, and like just follow your dream.
I can't imagine how hard that is for parents in real life when their kids go on to play things like, NFL or something, or boxing. Like, how hard that must be as a parent to be like, I want you to be happy, but I also don't want you to get your brains knocked out.
Yeah, especially the extra dangerous sports where like obviously boxing and fighting is concussion city. And really it can be really like it can have long-term effects, negative effects.
Yeah.
That's scary.
But totally.
I have friends who wanted to go into wrestling, and when they'd go to school and they would run the ropes and their back would be all jacked up, like the parents would be, would you please quit? Because it's really not a good thing. So, I mean, it's amazing that,
that she supports him that way.
Her name is Hiroko. Okay, I got that right.
Yeah,
I only saw the first couple episodes, like the third story arc, but that's when like you see the dad go off to sea and not come back, and she has to explain to her son he's not coming back, but she's going to be there to support him, and it's like, oh my gosh,
I know, right?
The tears.
Moms.
Another one I wanted to talk about is Hana from Wolf Children.
Yes, we absolutely have to have Hana in there because imagine being a single parent of two kids who are also half wolf.
Speaking of, there's a lot of single parents in anime.
Yes,
what's up with that?
We'll touch on that later, but we'll definitely touch on that later. But poor Hana.
But Hana, yes, like two wolf children that she has to take care of. I mean,
and they fight and fuss pretty viciously because they're wolf children. They're climbing over things, and she has to kind of protect them from like
the public.
Yeah,
having the transformations. That movie was great, by the way. I'm sorry.
You got to take a moment to praise.
Watch that.
Wolf children.
Next up, we got Naruto.
Yes,
Mom.
Uzumaki Kushina.
Yeah.
Naruto's mom. I was watching the scene when he meets her for the first time over the weekend, just to like, and this was the game, Ninja Storm 3. I was watching the scene and I was like, oh no.
You're like, I'm not gonna cry.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna cry.
What Naruto does great is like their music and like just the emotions that it wells up in you. Watching that again, like after all these years, man, just like, and she sacrificed herself. Like, I mean, I'm sure everyone knows now. She sacrificed herself for Naruto, and to come back, and literally one of the first things Naruto says is like, "You're the demon fox, whatever. You're not." And then she's like, he hits him on the head. It's like, no, stop joking around. Yeah, she's not like the graceful. I mean, she's kind of like Naruto. She's very all over the place, and like definitely the opposite to Minato. Very like energetic and fun, and like to see her and Naruto just like kind of just bond with their what.
That's awesome.
That scene.
Kelly, you said Junko Kaname.
Yes.
That is one that goes in a different category.
Oh, I see.
Not good mom's category.
well,
that's just a little hint.
Maybe it's your
at
favorite
what's to
mom
come.
in a different way.
We'll circle back around. We actually have a list of not so great moms.
We do.
Yeah.
But,
that I edited that on the train and it saved, and I didn't want it to save.
we'll skip down to
skipping down to Ikuko Tsukino from
Sailor Moon. So there's Queen Serenity, who's Sailor Moon's real mom, but then I want to give a shout out to her Earth mother, who doesn't get a lot of love because she's the one who has to basically put up with a very bratty Usagi, who's always sleeping in, never does her homework, always failing tests, is ravenously hungry. Because I don't think you've ever seen that character without her apron and a spatula in hand. Yeah. And she's always having to be like, go clean your room, go do your homework. What is up with this 0 on this test? Like, it cannot be easy raising 2 kids, especially a teenage daughter who's boy crazy, who's super lazy. And I think it's amazing.
Boy crazy and super lazy.
So, yes.
The motto.
That's me. But it was so great to see that both her parents are actually present in the anime, which we'll talk about later, is really rare in anime to see an actual like mom, dad, brother, sister kind of thing outside of younger, more traditional or older, more traditional anime from way back when. So shout out to them.
I also want to give a shout out to, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right, Sakai Jinochi? Is that right?
Yes,
Sakai?
that's the grandmother in Summer Wars.
Yes,
correct.
the grandma in Summer Wars. She is feisty.
She is
And
super
I
feisty.
like her.
Wait, sassy grandmas are the best.
Yes.
I
Yes,
feel
they
like
are.
there's a sassy grandma I'm thinking of, and now I'm forgetting. If I forgot any sassy grandmas, let me know. Because sassy grandmas are my favorite.
Yeah.
I love them.
They're really the best. Summer Wars, another great movie. If you, please watch that. And then last but not least, I thought I just wanted, Pokemon. Ash or Satoshi's mom, which I found out on Wikia that her name is Delia?
Delia.
Delia? Ooh, I said that wrong. Delia.
Yeah, Delia.
Is that right?
Delia, like the 90s clothing magazine, the catalog. Did you ever get a Delia's catalog?
No.
Well, that's how I know how to say that.
All right, so there you go.
But like, is that canon?
That her name is Delia?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard her name.
Yeah, right?
But interesting that you bring her up, because there's this fan theory that Ash's mom is like dating Professor Oak.
I thought I heard that somewhere too.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know where that came from, but I've heard that one too.
It makes sense.
She's an attractive woman. She's a successful scientist.
I think she's a good pivot into our next list, because
Sounds good.
she's a good mom, but also she let her 10-year-old take an electric rodent and leave. And he the rodent shocks him and this kid's not responsible. He woke up late and didn't get one of the official starters. I don't know, maybe Delia should get it together a little bit more.
Yeah, also teach him not, to be cruel to animals kind of thing. Like, don't keep your animal in a tiny Pokeball.
Well,
Yeah,
Pikachu's
Pikachu's a little protester.
That's true. He is, because he doesn't want to do that.
That's right.
I stand corrected.
But yeah, that she gives him money and clothes for 10 years or whatever.
Sure.
however money
Gives him money and
What does
clothes
she
for
do?
10 years?
I don't, what does she do?
She sweeps and cooks and maintains that household, and Ash's dad is wherever he is. Maybe it's Oak. Anyway.
That's where the money.
Anyway.
Plot twist.
That brings us to, we celebrate moms here. I like my mom. Hey, Mom. She watches every episode of Anime Club, and she watches Food Wars.
She's so awesome.
Oh, yeah.
She's so awesome.
Shout out to #1 Anime Club fan, my mom. But, it's okay to not want to celebrate moms on Mother's Day. I think that's something that is hard for people sometimes if you have, not the best mom.
So, yeah.
It's okay. And, we just want to talk about some
Well,
anime
also-
moms
yeah.
that are
don't quite make the cut.
just the worst anime moms. So this is why I mentioned Junko Kaname from Puella Magi Madoka Magica. I pretty much always bring up this show on Anime Club. But so she's not the worst mom. I want to make that very clear. But like, she's sort of this workaholic mom. If you haven't seen Madoka, like her whole thing is like she's some high level. I don't think she's a CEO, but she's like super high up there in her company. And I'm like, that's awesome. Because in Madoka, like the dad is the stay-at-home dad, Madoka's parents, and you do see both of them, which is cool. But she's also like a drunk, and she stumbles in like really drunk, and like Madoka has to like drag her to bed and stuff.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm like, this fits the theme of the show, sure, but also, yikes. I'd probably end up being that kind of mom, that like high power career mom, because I'm like, it's like career, but I wouldn't come home drunk,
Stumbling drunk.
and then my husband has to bring my teenage daughter. She's like super young. She's like 13.
Jeez.
Bring my super young daughter, who's like all sweet and innocent, and have her come out and drag my drunk butt to bed.
Man. Yeah, you know, Yusuke's mom in Yu Yu Hakusho is kind of the same way, where she's got like, you know, alcohol and cigarettes and never wants to work. It literally takes her until or basically it takes her son getting hit by a car for her to realize how much she loves him. And even then, she doesn't immediately become like the best mom ever. I mean, she still kind of yells and hollers, like when Yusuke is trying to find his way back into his body, and he's looking around like, who do I go to? Who do I need to go to for help? He skips his mom because he watches her throw a temper tantrum, and he's like, nope, don't want to deal with her. So she has her own like story. Like it takes that to realize that, you know, maybe she does love him, but that's who jumped to mind when I was like, oh man, the mom from Yu Yu Hakusho, though, she needs to get it together.
And then, of course, the mom from Erased.
Oh, yeah.
Kaio's mom.
Kaio-chan's mom.
Oh, she is the worst.
Yeah,
Ugh.
so slight spoilers for Erased. The one thing I hated about her like reveal, the abuse thing, where it's like, well, she was abused, so now she's abusing Kaio. I was like,
Oh, that's right.
no.
No,
I mean, like, that's sure, that is often a thing that happens.
Yeah.
Abuse begets abuse, etc. But also, like, they kind of had this weird twist on it. Like, it's okay, Kaio's mom. And I was like, no, it's still not. You're not. Like, she's like, her mom's like hugging her, like, I'm sorry. And I'm like, okay, this is emotional, but also don't beat your kid.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, but you'll notice that the rest of the characters didn't forgive her. Like,
Oh, of course
they
not.
just sort of stared at
That's
her
true.
like, we're not buying this. This is not about you. This
Yeah.
is not, don't feel sorry for yourself. You know, the mom is crying because she feels sorry for herself, not because, oh my gosh, what have I done?
Yeah,
It's
she
more
was
like,
almost like tricking the grandma, her mom,
Yeah.
into
Yeah,
like
it's
being like, I'm
manipulative.
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
She has that manipulative abuser mentality. So I was just kind of like,
Nope.
please.
Nope.
Yeah, she's like the tippy top of the worst.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to talk about in general, like, there's different degrees of bad moms. So we touched
yeah.
on like the mom who's like drunk. That's like a minor thing.
Or the
Sure.
or the absentee mom.
Or
like
the absentee
Yes.
mom.
I have to throw
Where are
Usagi under
those
the
moms?
bus a little bit because it's like Neo Queen Serenity. The reason why Chibiusa got attached to Sailor Pluto and her dad is because her mom seemed busy running the kingdom, but you can't really replace your mom. And I think sometimes it affects some of those anime characters, or they're just gone.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why
It's
aren't there more
never
moms in anime? Where are all the parents?
Yeah. So that good Megway.
Boom.
The next thing is, yeah, where are all the parents in anime? We've talked about this, I think, briefly on the show before, but like, where are they?
Yeah.
Why are they? So, okay, one point I do want to make is that it's a pretty convenient plot device.
Sure.
For a teenager to have suddenly all this autonomy and get to do whatever. Like, again, back to Madoka, rolling it back to Madoka. You know, when you have to fight witches at night and you're a magical girl and you got to go do magical girl things, it's a little more convenient to not have anybody to be like, hey, why aren't you at home in bed at night? Where are you? Oh, you know, like, what are you supposed to
Maybe if
say?
you stopped fighting evil by moonlight and got your butt home and did your homework, you wouldn't be getting 0 on tests.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah, but they're always like,
Yeah.
their excuses are always abroad. That's one popular one. There's always at least one parent that's abroad.
Yeah. They're always like, oh, my parents have important work abroad. And I'm like,
they left
that
you
real?
behind?
Where's your guardian?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, do you just live by yourself? Do they send you money?
Yeah. Do your grandparents or aunts or uncles?
Even then, like, no.
Yeah, we're going to America. We're going to go work there for a couple years. Peace.
Right?
Yeah. See ya.
Yeah,
Out.
see ya.
Or you have like the grandparents or the uncle or the stand-in, like in Shonen Maid, basically the premise of Shonen Maid, which I still need to catch up on because I enjoyed that show. It's very Oron-esque. The whole premise is like, your mom's dead, live with your uncle. And I'm like, why your mom got to be dead though?
Yeah, there's so many moms who are either dead before the show starts or they die early on. Like I think in Fullmetal Alchemist, like the mom is a huge catalyst for the story, right?
Yeah,
but
Trisha
but she dies. So sad.
There's lots of if you're not familiar with this term fridging, there's lots of fridged moms. Basically, it comes from this comic book trope of that actually happened. There was a woman in a refrigerator, dead in a refrigerator, and I forget which comic it was, but that's what spurred the man onto his adventure. So the trope refers to the idea of like generally a character, usually a woman, dying to spur the protagonist's adventure. And in anime, it's not really like girlfriends or wives. Like in comics, that's usually what it is. It's a girlfriend or a wife.
Right.
In anime, it seems to be parents a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Parents get fridged a lot. And again, I think that fits the convenience factor, but also the like tragedy factor. Like if you think about like Eren Yeager, like that's where his rage comes from
Right.
in Attack on Titan. Like, first of all, if Steven Tyler killed my mom,
It's not cool, Steven Tyler.
Yeah.
Not cool.
not cool at all.
Whoa.
That Titan looks a lot like Steven Tyler.
It totally does. It really does. I was trying to make an Aerosmith joke, and my mind went blank. Like, damn it, missed opportunity.
Yeah, I was like, how can I make Toys in the Attic into a thing? It's an album. Anyway, so that spurs his rage. So I think that's another thing is the sort of fridging trope of how do we get our teens to go out and do something?
Yeah, I get that. But also, like, that happens a lot for moms too, right?
Well, that's what I'm
It's
saying.
never the dads. The dads aren't like, usually anyway. I don't see dads that are either dead or they're just non-existent.
Yeah, they're always they're the ones
Yeah.
always traveling
They don't-
abroad.
yeah.
Sometimes they take their wives, but never their children.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Pokemon is an interesting example of that because there's like no adult men anywhere. There's old men and there's like young boys and there's like no adult men. And there was this like theory for a while that there was this big war in the Pokemon universe and all the men went and fight in the war and that's why there's no men. And there's like Lieutenant Surge is like the only, but that was like my first introduction to the idea of like, where are the dads? They're not around. Was watching Pokemon and being like, nobody where's Gary's dad? Where's Ash? Misty's
Where's
dad?
Gary's mom?
We know where Brock. Yeah, that's true. We know where Brock's dad is. So,
That's right.
but
Selling rocks on that.
yeah, yikes. So yeah, that was my first introduction to like dads. They like sometimes you don't even mention the dad. Like the mom might be dead, but the dad just like
Does not exist.
bounced. Which is really sad. Like
is
he left to
sad.
get cigarettes 10 years ago and never came back.
Or turned into a wolf man and
Oh,
had to,
and
you
then,
know,
yeah.
yeah.
Or was Professor Oak.
That's see, he was there all along.
If they reveal Ash's dad, that's going to be huge.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
God.
I will actually watch that episode. It's a very special episode of
the
Pokemon.
champion in some region, like,
Yeah, the absolute grand
Other side of-
champion turns out to be Professor Oak, and he just like, Ash, I am your father.
jeez.
And he's all, no, that's impossible.
And then he cuts off his arm.
whoa.
Yeah, it just has one
Star
of his
Wars.
Yeah, woo, Star Wars. I'm gonna try to sneak in a
I'd watch
Captain
that.
America
I'd
Civil War
watch that,
joke in
though,
here somewhere
actually.
too.
I totally watch
It's all
that.
about topical.
Yeah.
And then Ash has a robot arm for the rest of the series.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yes. Like Winter Soldier. There, bam, there. I made a Civil War joke.
Boom, Civil
Bringing
War.
it back.
Relevant.
Totally relevant. Not at all. But you know, Western comics are like Eastern manga. So there you go. That's my
Yeah,
tie-in.
just
I'm gonna
backwards.
shut up now.
So last time we had a lot of blue bottle coffee. This time we didn't.
Yeah.
And it's still wacky.
It is
wacky
still wacky.
time.
Something in the air.
Yeah. I don't know what it is.
A little bit of fairy dust.
Pokemon news.
It's the Pokemon news
totally
got us
Pokemon
hype. Yeah.
But
anyway.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank your mom.
Yeah. Tell your mom you love them.
Yeah.
And all that good
do.
stuff.
Yeah.
shout
Or your
out to
moms.
Chi-Chi.
Some people have multiple moms.
I forgot Chi-Chi from Dragon Ball. She's a bit of a nag, but she has to put up with both husband and son going off on adventures. So
That last minute mom edition.
yes, exactly. I loved that. Anyway, yes. Say I love you to your mom. Say
Give him a
hello to
hug.
her. I mean, call her.
Yes.
If you don't like your mom, that's okay too. But
That's okay.
give your mom some flowers. She does a lot,
yeah.
probably.
There's motherly figures that you probably know.
Yes.
Say hi to them.
Whoever those people are.
Or just say hi to us on
There
our
you go.
Facebook group at
There you go.
facebook.com/group/IGN Anime Club, the official group.
Yes.
That's right.
Alrighty then. That brings us to our watch party.
Watch
So
party.
if you're not familiar, the watch party is something we do every week. We talk about 2 episodes of a show chosen by you, the listeners and viewers. And we are doing Shirobako. We are about halfway through, almost at the end of the first cur. We are on episodes 11 and 12.
Yes.
Yeah. What did you guys think of these episodes? Starting off.
More good stuff. Like I don't know enough of the industry to know what else they'll be talking about. But yeah, this is all about networking, and this next 2 episodes, knowing people in order to finish a project. And they rely, like a lot of production assistants rely on getting animators. They don't have enough. They have a limited amount within their studio, but they do freelance work or contract work to outsiders that are looking for jobs. So yeah, Miyamori.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I'm surprised I got that right.
You did well.
Yeah, just her trying to like find someone to do like the last 20 or so cuts or 30 cuts. Oh my goodness, I can't even imagine how long that takes. And then no one can do it because it's that time of the year. Everyone's finishing up their series. Everyone's busy. And that's so stressful to see that. Like, oh my goodness, like, is she gonna find anyone?
Yeah, this show is so stressful that way. There's always something where it's just like we got to get this done, but we don't have the time, the budget, or the people. How do we make this work? And just every time I'm like, oh, it's so stressful.
Yeah, and like part of me is like, well, what if there was just more time, more money, and more people? Because that would just eliminate all my stress. But obviously, that's not how this works, and it's really cool to see how they make it work.
Yeah.
That is my favorite Tim Gunn phrase from Project Runway, the make it work. Because it's really inspiring to me. Even though this show like has me like on edge a lot of the time, just like so stressed out. It's also like so incredibly rewarding when you pull through and you get something done, even if it's not, exactly how you wanted it or not perfect.
Yeah. But getting to the finish line.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome. So we have a couple of comments from the Facebook group. Definitely joined, by the way. Giselle De Silva says, another episode that shows us that Taro is useful in banding everyone together in mutual agreement because anyone they hire will be better than him. I love that. So yeah, we talked about a couple episodes back that Taro is super annoying, but I do agree that his use as a character, at least, is in creating this common, like, not enemy, but like bonding agent.
Yes, bonding agent.
Because
good,
that common frustration is often what brings coworkers together.
Yes.
Yeah, speaking of, they are interviewing people to replace that PA that left for another.
Yeah.
So that's what. Yeah. Anyway, you were saying.
Yeah. Greg Garner says, when I was first interviewing, I remember thinking, I'll do anything as a selling point for potential employers. The flashback to one of Miyamori's previous job interviews hit home for me. It made me realize that I never had a particular goal and didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah, that struck me as well. That was pretty powerful.
Yeah. Like when I was first freelancing, it was kind of this thing where it's like, oh, what kind of games do you play? I'll play anything. When really no one plays everything.
Right.
No one does everything.
Yeah.
You might think of yourself as a jack of all trades kind of thing. Like, I can juggle a lot of different things. And I think being able to juggle a lot of different skills is in itself a skill.
Right.
it's not like I'm just fantastic at everything. It's like, oh, I have this multitasking skill, versus being like, oh, I'm really good at, I like anime and I like Pokemon and those are my skills.
Yeah, like your specialties. What do people need?
Yeah.
Like, I understand you don't want to pigeonhole yourself. Like, I don't want to have everyone come to me for like one, probably like, keyframes in anime or this thing.
Totally.
So I think she wanted to be open-minded. Like, I'll do anything to get into the business. And it's like, yeah, but you don't know what you want to do because you're not giving a specific answer about what you can do.
Yeah, it's very powerful for that kind of like. When I got out of high school, pretty much everybody I knew didn't really know what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of this like, oh, I'll take all the classes in college and I'll do all of the different jobs and I'll take all the freelance assignments and all this stuff. And that works for a little while, but it's interesting to see like how she's grown and kind of how you come from the open-ended, not really knowing where you want to be to finding your path through something.
Yeah.
Totally.
All right, Megan Murphy. Shout out to Megan Murphy because we have a really solid comment. I love the Facebook group because we get these like really detailed breakdowns. It's this collaborative effort.
We do. I think we only have time to like read the first couple of paragraphs, but it's really wonderfully detailed. I love that. That's so cool. Thank you for that.
That second one right there.
So Megan Murphy says, in this episode, the pairing of Miyamori's interview flashbacks alongside Musani interviewing new hires is really great storytelling. It shows us Miyamori's development while advancing the plot and spiking our intrigue about potential new characters. I think Miyamori's realistic yet struggling experience with the struggle and production field makes her a really good judgment of character to pick out the right hires. It was cute how she was encouraging even the most spastic, nervous hires on with her vigorous nodding.
Yes.
She's just like,
I love that. It's like, yes, you can do it.
And then she also notes, I just want to point this out, it's funny how they all knowingly realize the mistake, quote unquote, that is Taro, yet do nothing about it. To me, Musani Animation is a charming patchwork of eccentric personalities spanning all ages and backgrounds and their tight-knit family. I really liked that.
Yeah.
I like that this company, you get a lot of different perspectives, and that enriches the show, I think.
Yeah, it makes the characters stand out from each other, too, because there's so many you have to keep track of what they do and who they are and how they affect overall things. And so everyone hates Taro, but you remember him.
Yes.
Because you know him in real life.
That's true. And there's must be a reason why they hired him.
Yeah, he must be good at something.
Yeah, like the interview probably went well. He probably knew what he was talking about. But then when it comes down to the actual
or they were desperate and the office was on fire and they're like, we need to help put this out. And
hey,
like,
put out the fire. Also, can you stay and just be a PA?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah, I think, to be a little more forgiving to Taro, I think everybody has their bad moments or bad days. It just seems like he has a lot of them. But I do want to back up a little bit and talk about, the fact that we have all these different personalities, even though they can be hard to keep track of, is they all reflect off of each other. So it's this really interesting character study because you look at Miyamori thinking back on her first interview, seeing a new character come in, new characters come in to interview, and contrasting them, you get more depth of understanding of Miyamori too, and versus like how Taro is, and thinking like, well, Miyamori might have felt like a total disaster in her interview, but Taro just is a disaster.
Yeah. There's always that rock bottom that's underused. Well, at least I'm not Taro.
Yeah. It's one of those things that like you can use to make yourself feel better, but I would still feel bad about, I'm like, oh, Taro, you try.
Oh yeah.
At least he doesn't slack off completely. Yeah. Like, he does try a little. Oh, yeah. Just it's very annoying.
Yeah.
Moving on to episode 12, just because we're running out of time here. Exodus Christmas.
Yes.
I like this episode.
It's so cute.
So here Miyamori gets a connection and now has to go to this huge anime director, I believe.
Yes.
Who
really
worked
famous.
on Neo Generation Aving Dolan.
I wonder what that's a reference to.
But talking to this hugely inspirational, just a huge part of anime, being able to talk to that through connections that she made. Now finding out that Suge was this legendary animator this whole time.
Yes. Okay, but what's cute is that our audience on the Facebook group picked up that this is a major cameo for the show because this is actually the guy who made Evangelion.
Yes.
Yeah. Huge cameo.
Yeah,
Yes.
big cameo.
Actually, Taylor Grant says right here, Mitsuaki Kano, who's actually Hideako Anno. Is that how I pronounce it?
Yeah.
Yes.
The guy who made Evangelion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great. I love seeing those. Like,
Yeah, actually,
I
I
have
guess
no
it-
idea who they are, but like.
Yeah, but there are 3 cameos,
Oh yeah.
I guess.
That
there
Taylor,
was,
points out.
yeah, so there was Mitsuaki Kano, which is Hideako Anno. There's Masahiko Inami, which is Masahiko Minami, who's
Wow.
a former Sunrise producer. And then he split off to do Studio Bones. So
That's so cool.
that's so
So
cool.
awesome.
This cameo, the person who founded this Bones. This
Yeah.
is so cool.
And then there's Keiji Takekura, who is Yuji Matsukuda, and he's a producer from JC, staff responsible for things like the Certain Railgun Index anime franchise, Golden Time, Toradora, Honey and Clover, Bakuman, and a very large chunk of JC's entire staff portfolio.
Wow.
Toradora and Honey and Clover.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah, and then just backing up for Masahiko Minami, he's responsible for production and planning of like Fullmetal Alchemist, Cowboy Bebop, Escaflowne, Space Dandy. That Taylor Grant Franklin points out. That's a big deal.
Oh,
Those are
Huge deal.
those are 3 huge cameos.
Yeah.
Which is that's something I didn't know the first time I saw this show. Like I didn't know to pick up on that stuff. Because it's a little hard if you aren't trying to find cameos. Like I was just watching the show just to watch it.
Exactly.
Right.
So
I could tell that, the Hideako Anno was obviously like a
Right.
huge cameo, but everyone else was like, oh, I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
yeah. So this is just really cool. This is why I like the watch party so much, is we get to like slow down and point out these things that I at least I know I didn't notice or overlooked the first time. But yeah, we're about out of time. So join us next week if you'd like to participate in the watch party. We're going to be doing episodes 13 and 14 of Shirobako. You can find it on Crunchyroll, etc. We have that all in the article for the podcast on IGN.com, so you can keep track of where to find the show, how to follow along with the watch party. Of course, you can email us at IGN_Anime Club@IGN.com. We get all those emails. It has a little pink filter on my email, and I always appreciate just seeing stuff, even if we don't have time to respond.
For sure.
And then again, the Facebook group is facebook.com/groups/IGN Anime Club. That's the official group.
Yep. And you can also make sure if you can watch Anime Club on IGN.com, YouTube, Roku, Apple TV. We have tons of apps that you can watch us on.
PS4, Xbox One, you know the drill.
Yeah.
We like to point this out because so many different people have so many different ways to watch our show. So we want to make sure you guys know it's
Yes.
available. We don't mean to bang it over your head. But
Oh, totally. Yeah. And YouTube channel, youtube.com/Anime Club.
Yeah,
Yes.
our new YouTube channel. We're populating that with some clips from the show, and we'll have some other fun content on there, like Let's Plays and stuff like that.
Yes.
So definitely be sure to subscribe. We're building up that channel. Because, if you used to catch our stuff on the main IGN YouTube, you're not really going to find it there anymore. You can still find some anime features like big, Dragon Ball Z fights or something. We did a feature like that. But Anime Club specific stuff you can find on our personal YouTube channel. So definitely check that out. And you can also find us on Twitter. Mike,
Yes.
where can they find you on Twitter?
You can find me at XPMNMs.
And are you working on anything special?
One Piece.
Just all One Piece all the time.
One Piece all the
That's
time.
okay.
Actual
There's
Pirate
lots
King.
of One Piece.
Yeah.
Yes. Actual Pirate King. We found him.
Yeah. Megan?
Yay.
I am working on an anime movie review. I'm also doing some preliminary research on an anime feature. If you want to know what those are, hit me up at Megan, MEGHAN_IGN, and I will drop hints as to what they are.
And you can find me at Inky Dojiko, INKYDOJIKKO. Of course, I'm doing a lot of Pokemon stuff because of the Pokemon announcement. That's sort of what I do. So check out my Rewind Theater, my trailer breakdown on IGN. I can also tweet that out. So if you go to my Twitter, I've been tweeting out all that stuff.
Yeah.
And ask me about starters. Yeah. So that has been Anime Club, IGN Anime Club, episode 52. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll catch you next week. Yay anime!
Yay anime!
Bye-bye.